Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Devaki Nandanaya cha. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. Govindaya Namo Namaha. So Hare Krishna, this evening we are reading from Bhagavad-gītā as it is, chapter number 3, Karma Yoga. So we'll be taking verse number 30. Mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi. Mayi sarvāṇi karmāṇi. Sannyasyādhyātma-cetasā. Sannyasyādhyātma-cetās. Nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā. Nirāśīr nirmamo bhūtvā. Yudhyasva vigata-jvaraḥ. Yudhyasva vigata-jvaraḥ. Mayi, unto me, sarvāṇi, all sorts of karmāṇi, activities, sannyasya, giving up completely, adhyātma, with full knowledge of the self, cetasā, by consciousness, nirāśīḥ, without desire for profit, nirmamaḥ, without ownership, bhūtvā, so being, yudhyasva, fight, vigata-jvara, without being lethargic. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Purport ki. Translation. Therefore, Arjuna, surrendering all your work unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Purport. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties, as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Śrī Kṛṣṇa to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called adhyātma-cetās. Nirāśīḥ means that one has to act on the order of the master, but should not expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purpose of mayi, or unto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmamo, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become vigata-jvara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness, as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmitam Mena Tasmai Śrī Guruve Namaha. Śrī Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhūtale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this verse, what we see here, Krishna is telling Arjuna that without any consideration. So this verse is like a imperative. Yes, this has to be done. Like in the scriptures, it is told, Adho Guru Ashraya, Tatsmat Gurum Prapadyante Jigyasu Sreya Uttama. Imperative means which is mandatory. So here what we see, Krishna, he is telling Krishna this, yes, he has to work alone. Mayi, this word is being used a good number of times in Bhagavad-gītā by Lord Krishna. So here what we see, Krishna explains that he is telling Arjuna that he should surrender all his work unto him with full consciousness or knowledge of Krishna, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy. So here few points are being told by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. So here what we see, as I told you, this verse is like specific. You have to do it. You can't run away. So here the situation is that what we see in the war, one who is fighting on the back of the chariot, he is supposed to command. Actually, Arjuna is supposed to command Krishna, isn't it? But here it is the other way around. Sometimes we see in the family, the husband is supposed to command, take care of the house, but it goes other way around, some places. So here what we see, like Krishna in 3.9, he told like generic verse, like yajñāt karmano netra lokoyam karma bandhanam. So but this verse is very specific, very stubborn, and somehow because Krishna wants to give all credit to Arjuna, and Arjuna basically he is following Krishna's instruction. And what we see, even when Purport, he went to New York, America, and when he was registering ISKCON, so there was a lawyer. So this lawyer, when Purport, he put this ISKCON in short form. So what he said, Swamiji, why don't you make it ISKCON? ISKCON is International Society for God Consciousness. So Prabhupada said, no. That is not required. I want to glorify Krishna in specific. So what we see, Prabhupada, he said, no, this I have to name it as ISKCON. So in mundane world, what we see people, so they are more or less, they don't understand the position of Krishna. So here what Prabhupada writes, what is the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā? Now I think all of you must have read. So in Bhagavad-gītā introduction, Prabhupada has given the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā. So any intellectual scholar who can recall. So here Prabhupada writes in the beginning, verse number 30. The very clearly indicates that the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā, Lord Krishna, here Prabhupada explains. So this verse very clearly indicates the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā. So can anyone tell what is the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā? No, don't quote shloka. Just tell me in a small sentence. To understand Krishna. Understand Krishna, surrender Krishna, any other thing? So, okay, no problem. Some way you are on the way. So, Prabhupada writes, the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā is to deliver mankind from the nescience of material existence. Every man is in difficulty. So many ways, in so many ways, Prabhupada writes. So Prabhupada explains that as Arjuna was also in difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra, but here what we see, Arjuna, he surrendered. Also in the end of Bhagavad-gītā, Arjuna said that yes, my illusion is gone and now I will act according to your instruction. So in today's verse, what we see, Krishna has given certain instructions. First, he recommends, yes, work exclusively for me. That is the first point. Krishna explains that, yes, surrender all work unto him, that is Krishna. Then Krishna explains, without desires for profit. Material world, everyone is looking for, yes, how much credit or profit he gets. Then fourth point, what he explains, with no claims of proprietorship. Now material world, what we see, more or less people, they want to own something, from land to house, so many things. And in the end, Krishna also tells him that, free from lethargy. Anyone knows what is lethargy? Laziness. Material world, what we see, Kali Yuga, people are more or less lethargic. Prayana alpa avishya kalau asmin yuge jana manda sun manda matayo manda bhagya hi upadruta. Upadruta means they are very much lethargic, lazy. They don't want to work. They are always morose. So that is the situation. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you cannot be lethargic. Like when you are driving, can you be lethargic? No. Even if you are driving any kind of two-wheeler or four-wheeler, anything you are driving, so you have to be very much prompt. So here Arjuna is being told, Lord Krishna, that yes, he cannot be lethargic. War means there will be one winner and one loser, either side. So here, what Prabhupada explains that yes, the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā is to take out the mankind, deliver mankind from the nescience of material existence. So there is a verse mentioned in Upanishads, Tamaso ma jyotir gamaya, that one should go from darkness to light. So we offer pranam to our Guru, Om Ajnana Timirandasya. That means my Guru has taken out me from delivered me from the darkness of ignorance. So material world we see more or less today, people they are fighting in the name of religion and they don't know what is religion. First of all, they don't know what is religion and they are fighting in the name of religion. So Prabhupada here he mentions, especially he mentions that there should be military discipline as the mood of Krishna conscious duties. So Prabhupada explains here in this purport, there should be military discipline. So what we see in the defense, when one joins the defense forces, so in the basic training, they are given prompt training. So they have to be very prompt in everything what they do. So they can't walk when they have their basic training, always they have to be at the double miss, always running. They can't just walk like what we walk. And oftentimes you can see that rat, you will never see a rat walking. Anyone has seen a rat walking? No. So in the defense, they train you, they tune you in such a way, so you will act according to their command. So there is a story of Hitler. One time Hitler was asked, what is his secret of success? So what Hitler said, okay, come, I'll show you the example. So he called his army, and there was one bridge, and a river was flowing. The bridge was broken. So he told the army, come on, march past. Left, right, left, right. So they were walking all the way. So they are about to fall into the water. Few soldiers in the front, they fell off. Then he said, okay, stop. So they couldn't say, the bridge is broken, how can we march? Just follow the order. So now, when it comes to following an authority, all of you know there is a saying, because I am from Navy. One time I was in one office, and my boss, in the back there was one big photo. We have here Krishna Balram. So he had one photo with one monkey holding a phone. And in the back it was written, the boss is always right. The boss is always right. You can't argue. You can't say, no sir. So what we see, that there is a saying that it is said that there are two rules that should be accepted while working under a boss. All of you are getting what I am telling? So when you are working under a certain person, two rules you have to accept. The first rule is that boss is always right. Is that okay with every one of you? And the boss is always right. The second rule is that states that if the boss is wrong, all of you are getting? If the boss is wrong, what is the way around, other way around? Refer to rule number 1. What is the rule number 1? The boss is always right. So here also what we see, what Krishna is saying is right, and Arjuna has to follow that. So in the US Marines, when they teach them how to handle the arms, especially guns, so they tell them this is a loaded gun. You can't just aim it at anyone casually. So they can be, for that they can be punished. So this way we have to know that no questions are asked in the defense. When they speak something, you should not have any, questions. If you have some questions, they will say, okay, go around the parade ground. So here, as I told you, that Krishna is trying to make understand Arjuna that yes, whatever work he is doing, he has to surrender unto Krishna. That is what Krishna wants here to make clear to Arjuna. So Prabhupada explains that duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, as in military discipline. That is what Prabhupada writes. That is the constitutional position of the living entity, eternally subordinate to Lord Krishna. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita there is one verse, Jive Swarup Hoye Krishner Nityadas. Also in Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna explains, Mamay Omsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So we are part and parcel of the Lord. And what is the dharma? We have the dharma, Jiva Dharma. Jaiva, there is one book called Jiva Dharma. So now what is the dharma of a soul? Especially those who are civilized human beings, we should know that our dharma is Sanatan Dharma. The Sanatan Dharma of the living entity is to serve the Sanatan Lord in the eternal abode, Sanatan Dham. So that should be the understanding. Somehow we have forgotten our real relationship with the Lord. Bhagavatam explains, Muktir hitva anyata rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. So Arjuna has forgotten his swarupa. What is swarupa of a kshatriya? So that is mentioned in the 18th chapter. the duties of a Kshatriya, Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra. So somehow Arjuna is forgetting his duty, what duty is supposed to perform. And also what we see material world, everyone has a tendency to serve. So let it be a doctor, a lawyer, a shopkeeper. So everyone wants to serve. That is what is the jiva dharma. There is one dharma called guna dharma. Like sugar or salt or chili, they have different guna dharma. Sugar is sweet. Salt is salty. Chili is spicy, hot. So that is a guna dharma. But jiva dharma, jiver swarup hoye, Krishner nityadas. That should be our understanding. So Prabhupada writes, living entities cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord. So what this means exactly is that, like now, oftentimes we see watch on the wall, big watches. So they have needles and they have the numbers 1 to 12. So supposing one number out of 12, one number, supposing number 5 falls off. So that number has no independent existence. Like in a big machine, if a screwdriver falls, small screw falls off, so it has no existence. So similarly, Prabhupada gives one good example, analogy. Like we have our working senses, knowledge gathering senses. So if the food is kept in front of you, a nice plate of prasadam, so if your senses, they decide, your hand, your nose, eyes, all they decide, today we will not feed this tongue, the mouth will keep the stomach hungry today. Let us enjoy the food. So can our hands or eyes or ears, nose, can they enjoy the food? No. The food has to be put in the stomach, and when you masticate it nicely, you taste it, your mind feels the pleasure. So the stomach goes into the belly, okay. So in this way, what we see, Prabhupada explains that living entities cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord. So this is what is happening in the material world, because this material world is created for the living entities who want to act independently. Like oftentimes it is seen, the small children, they want to cook. They want to cook and they disturb the mother. What she will do, she will bring small playthings and she will tell, okay, you cook in this. She will get all the gadgets, cooking small things. Similarly, a small boy, if he tells his father, I want to drive the car, so he will get him a toy car. Or if he says, I want a gun, he will get a toy gun. Okay. So, similarly, in the material world, what we see, those living entities who have, who don't like the Lord, who want to be away from the Lord, who are independent minded. So this material world is made for the living entities who wants to act independently. Those who don't want to cooperate with the Lord. So like in every city there is a jail. So what is jail? The jail is made for reforming the criminals. So similarly, the material world, it is a prison house. So we saw in the past few verses before, Krishna explains, Daiviyesha gunamayi mama maya durattaya mameva prapadyante maya metam tarantite. So this material energy, Maya, she is always keeping track of all the living entities. And Maya has two nice weapons. One weapon is called, that weapon, it is called Avarnatmika Shakti. Avarnatmika means covering potency. And one is called Prakshepatmika, firing, which is throwing down. Avarnatmika means like, for example, a hog. So if you tell a hog what he's eating, you can't convince a hog not to eat stool, because his intelligence is tuned in such a way, by default he will eat it. Okay? So that is called avaranatmika. His intelligence is being covered. No matter you preach him 100 times, still he will not understand. So prakshepatmika means when you get into devotional service, then Maya will tell, now there is so much time, why you want to dedicate yourself. So you relax, maybe when you become old, you can take to devotional service. That is called throwing away, taking away from doing devotional service. So here Prabhupada further explains that the meaning of adhyātma-cetasa, one who is fully Krishna conscious and depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration. Now what we see, when the children, they are small, below 5 years, so they are completely dependent on the mother or parents, whatsoever it is. So here adhyātma-cetasa means that without personal consideration, one has to be fully dependent on Krishna. So we have examples in Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj, Jada Bharat. So when Dhruva Maharaj, he was threatened by Durvasa Muni with the demon, just he stood folding his hands. So because the Lord is there to protect his devotees, the immediately Lord, he sent the Sudarshan, and that Sudarshan, it killed that demon, and it started following Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni was on the run. So he went all the way to Lord Shiva, then Brahmalok. So ultimately he landed in Vaikunta. So the Lord said, I can't help you. So then what he said is, how can I be forgiven? So the Lord said, you have to go back to Ambrish Maharaj. So this took 1 year time. Can you imagine? Durvasa Muni was so fast that he could go to Vaikunta and come back. Today, this modern science, whatever they say, they went to moon and other things. This is all hoax. So Durvasa Muni was having such a speed. So he came back and he fell at the feet of Ambrish Maharaj. And we have an extreme example, Jada Bharat. What we see, Jada Bharat, he again reincarnated from Bharat Maharaj to a deer. The third birth was, he was born in a Brahmana family because he was acting little foolish, because he didn't want to again get entangled in the family life. So he used to do all the way, other way around, all the work, whatever he was being told. His father, he tried level best to train him in all aspects of Brahminical culture, but somehow he was doing everything other way around. So when his father expired, his other brothers, they were not treating him good. They were giving him all coarse grains, all burnt food. So he was happy with that. So he was put in the field to shoo away the birds. So one time what happened, some dacoits, they saw this is a good Narabali. We can sacrifice him to Durga. So they took him to Durga. So Durga could understand, yes, these fools, they are sacrificing a Vaishnava. See, this Durga, she sent her associates, they killed all this, they killed all these dacoits. Then again, one time, he was in the forest, one king, Rahuguna, he was being taken in a palanquin. So one of the person, he got hurt. So they were looking for a replacement, and they found this Jada Bharat. They told, okay, you have to hold this palanquin one side. So he said, okay. But because he was completely Krishna conscious, so he couldn't match the steps with the others. So the king became very angry and he started chastising him. So what we see, because Jada Bharat, he was completely Krishna conscious, he was not aware what is happening in the material world. So then for the next word, Nirāśīḥ, Prabhupada writes, to act on the order of the master without expecting fruitive result. Then Prabhupada gives the example of a cashier counting millions of dollars for the employer, not even taking a cent. So now we know there are so many banks, there are cashiers, they are counting, okay, but still they get a paycheck at the end of the month. But here, what Krishna is telling, that yes, without expecting any fruitive result. And again, Krishna, mayi, as I told you, this word Krishna has quoted a good number of times in Bhagavad-gītā. So here also Krishna explains, mayi means unto him. Nothing in the world belongs to anyone, Prabhupada writes, but everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. So material world, what we see in today's world, there are top 10s in the world, top 10 rich men in India, or every country has a top 10. Actually, they are top 10 thieves in one sense. So this material world is a small world. There are about 200 countries. So, okay, each country there may be a person. He may be a millionaire, billionaire. He may have 50 billion or 100 billion. So now recently there is one person. He's trying to buy so many things. What he thinks he can control the world economy. It is all foolishness. So these people are like that, that light worms in the rainy season. In the night, they are like glowworms. They give little light. Who cares for them? So, but Prabhupada writes that nothing in the world belongs to anyone, but everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. So, Ishopanishad, there is one nice verse, Ishavasam idam sarvam jagat. So, everything in this world, animate, inanimate. So, that which is moving, that which is not moving. So, everything belongs to the Lord. Also in Bhagavad-gītā, what Krishna explains, 529, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarva loka maheshwara. Not only Bharata Maheshwara or this Brahman Maheshwara, sarva loka maheshwara. That should be the understanding that yes, everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada further explains this word nirmama. Nirmama means nothing is mine, free from the sense of proprietorship. So what we see in material world, even the animals, every dog has his lane and he doesn't let other dogs to cross through that lane. Oftentimes when we go on Govardhan Parikrama, certain dogs, they join the human beings, the devotees, because they take us as a shelter. What happens when they accompany us? So the other dogs, they will not come because what they think, this guy belongs to this group. That is the psychology of other dogs. Otherwise, if this dog goes on his own alone, then he will have a very hard time. So nirmamo means free from proprietorship. Material world, what we see, many people, they claim so many things. What did you bring? What you will take away? Many people, they give that Gita. They speak on Bhagavad-gītā. But Krishna has not spoken such kind of verse, whatever it is. So we should understand that, yes, we should be free from proprietorship. So material world, because when you have that proprietorship, then you feel that, yes, I have the right to enjoy. This is what is the mentality. Our mentality becomes polluted. So when you become nishkinchana, nishkinchana means that, yes, that I have nothing. Everything belongs to the Lord. So in that consciousness, we can serve the Lord. Further, Prabhupada writes that vigata-jvara. Vigata-jvara means without feverish mentality or lethargy. Give up any reluctance to fight because of bodily relationships. So in the end, Prabhupada explains, as Arjuna, he saw all his relatives, grandfather Bhishma, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, all the relatives. So he was taken back. What he thought, better to become a mendicant. But for a Kshatriya, the way it is mentioned that either he should win the kingdom or even if he dies in the battle, he gets the heavenly abode. That is what is the duty of a Kshatriya. So Srimad Bhagavatam also, there is a nice one verse that Sud Goswami explains to the sages of Naimisharanya that whatever we do, that everything should be done for the Supreme Lord. There is a nice verse in the first canto, second chapter. Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Makha, Vasudeva para Yajna, Vasudeva para Kriya, Vasudeva param Jnanam, Vasudeva param Tapa, Vasudeva paro Dharma, Vasudeva para Gati. So now so many aspects are mentioned here. So in the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Krishna. In material world, there are so many knowledge, different kinds of knowledge, and this is all Jada Vidya. Jada Vidya means it is a dead knowledge. We have encyclopedia, so many things. Today's modern world, you can have so many informations, but no transformation. So we should know that the ultimate object of knowledge is Krishna. Okay? The personality of Godhead. Then the purpose of performing sacrifice is to please Him. So no matter what sacrifice you do, also Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna explained in this chapter 3.9, Yajnāt karmano netra lokoyam karma bandhana. If we don't do the work for Yajna, the Supreme Lord, then we get entangled. Further, the purpose of performing sacrifice to please Him, then yoga is for realizing Him. And today's world, yoga, there are so many different varieties of yoga. Like this corona, it has so many, variants. So this yoga also has so many variants in the material world. So now presently some people they are put the yoga into a different word called doga. Doga means doing yoga with dog. You can imagine what is their intelligence. Okay? So, yoga means connecting. The literal word yoga means to connect. When you take electricity, so what you do, you can't connect it to your body. You will have a reverse reaction. But you are taking the electricity to connect with the electrical instruments. Similarly, yoga means to connect with the Supreme Lord. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by Him. So, whatever we perform, our duties, ultimately the Lord is giving the fruitive result. He is supreme knowledge. Then all severe austerities are performed to know Him. Okay? Religion, dharma is rendering loving service unto Him. And He is the supreme goal of life. So, people have so many goals in life, but they don't know what is the ultimate goal of life. So Vedanta Sutra explains, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now therefore, in this human form of life, one should inquire who he is, where from he has come, where he will go, what is his relationship with Lord. So when Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, when they met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so they made a question, Kene amani japa tapa trai. They asked that in the material world, people they consider us to be Pandit. No, we are very learned scholars. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they knew a good number of languages. They are highly intellectuals. But when they came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what they said, that yes, we don't know what is the goal of life. So material world, what we see today, people they are going throughout their life, but they don't know what is the end of life. There is one nice saying in South American language that when I was a child, I was dying to play. Then I was dying to go to the school. Then I was dying to go to high school. Then I was dying to go to college. Then I was dying to take a degree. Then I was dying to take a job. Then I was dying to get married. Then I was dying to have some children. Then I was dying to build one house, dream home. Then I was dying to retire. Everyone has to retire one day. So now he's in the hospital. What he explains, yes, now I'm really dying. And what I see, and my complete life is gone. So this is what is in the material world. Literally people, they are living in ignorance. More or less, people are living in ignorance. So here what we see, Prabhupada explains that material world, a doership means it leads to attachment. So that's why whatever activities we do, a good number of verses Krishna explains, yat karoshi yad asnasi yad dosi dadasi yas. And also Krishna has given so many other examples by which one has to give everything to Krishna. So now because Arjuna, there is no way out for him, and Krishna is giving him, yes, this is the ultimatum. So also there is one pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going from Nadia all the way from Shantipur, he was going to Jagannath Puri, and he told all the devotees they should carry nothing, they should go empty-handed with him, then only they can follow him from behind. So what he said, that yes, they should always depend on Krishna. So this way, what we see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from all the way from Bengal, when he came to Jagannath Puri, so he didn't carry any prasad on the way. So all the arrangements were made. So also Bhagavad-gītā, Lord Krishna explains 9.22, Yoga Kshema Vahamyam. So if we are completely dependent on Krishna, so Krishna will take care of us. So now we'll go to the commentary of our Acharyas. So Sridhar Swami, he explains, so it has to be shown that even those who in Jnana Yoga or cultivating the spiritual knowledge should perform prescribed duties, Vedic activities. But as for Arjuna was not situated in Jnana Yoga, he had not achieved Atma-tattva or soul realization. The only alternative for him was to perform actions in Karma Yoga or activities prescribed in Vedic scriptures according to the qualifications. Then he explains the word sannyasa means renounce. What is to be renounced? Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna to renounce all actions for himself and instead to dedicate all his actions as yajna or worship as an offering to the Supreme Lord. One should try to be guided by the Lord in every action they perform. One should think that they are being guided by the Supreme Lord at all times, relinquishing both desires and attachment, and thereby being free from all ego conceptions, I-ness or minus, and any conception of ownership. One should cheerfully perform all actions for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. In this way, Lord Krishna is instructing Arjuna to free himself from the delusion and to fight, banishing all lamentations. This is what Sridhar Swami explains. Then we'll come to Vishna Chakravarti Thakur. So Chakravarti Thakur explains the word adhyātma here taken as avya bhava, compound, meaning in Adi, the Atma. The phrase adhyātma-cetās therefore means with consciousness fixed on the Atma, that is Supreme Lord. Therefore offering sannyasa, all work to the Krishna by consciousness fixed in the Atma rather than in the material objects. Being without desires for results, being nishkama, devoid of possessiveness in all respects, nirmamo, and fight. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur also explains in the similar manner. So now we will come to Baldev Vidyabhushan. So Baldev Vidyabhushan explains, because this is you, a parinishta bhakta. Baldev Vidyabhushan explains to Arjuna as parinishta bhakta with knowledge concerning your nature as atma, adhyātma-cetās. Offering sannyas means renouncing all actions to Krishna. The Supreme Lord, just as a servant offers everything to the king, fight, you should be devoid of concept of being the doer. As a servant depends on the king, performs actions according to the king's order. You should perform your actions according to my order with a desire to teach people. So here, Baldev Vidyabhushan gives two nice examples. So somebody is working for the king. He can't have his own way of doing anything. Similarly, he gives another example, a servant dependent on that king. Whatever he does, he has to depend on the king. So, Madhvacharya also has given his words, what he explains. The word adhyātma-cetās means in one's mind offer all actions to Paramatma or super soul of the Supreme Being. Here Lord Krishna is giving the conclusion by instructing that one should dedicate all actions to him alone, eradicating all deluded concepts that one is the doer of any actions. Sannyasa means renouncing all activities that are not dedicated to the Supreme Being. The word nirmamo means without any ego of attachment. Those situated in the spiritual wisdom of the Vedas dedicate all their actions as well as their thoughts to Paramatma within, without attachment. So this way, what we see here, to just round up today's verse, Lord Krishna, in brief, told Arjuna, yes, what are the things Krishna is expecting from Arjuna. Like Prabhupada gives one example, thinking, feeling, willing and doing. In material world, every day we are doing what? Thinking, feeling, willing and doing. So Krishna expects that Arjuna, he should do according to Lord Krishna's dictation. So Krishna wants that Arjuna should surrender unto him alone. Then, with full knowledge of Krishna, then Krishna expects that without desires for profit, with no claims of proprietorship and free from lethargy. So Prabhupada, he began this purport today with the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā. So now let me see how many of you can recall what is the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā. Anyone consciously heard? What is the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā? रामायण सुनने के बाद लास्ट में क्या कहते हैं, राम और सीता क्या है? So I told 2 times what is the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā. Huh? To? No. Anyone? No, not that. So I spoke from introduction of Bhagavad-gītā. No, somewhat you are 50% okay. Prabhupada writes, okay, I'll speak what Prabhupada explains in introduction. The purpose of Bhagavad-gītā is to deliver mankind from nescience and the darkness of material existence. Every man is in difficulty in so many ways, as Arjuna also was in difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. So, to deliver us from nescience, ignorance, that is the purpose of Bhagavad-gītā. So, thank you very much. So, you have 2 minutes left. Anyone has any query regarding today's verse? Yes, Prabhu. Just wait for the mic. Okay, thoda kam rakh. More advanced, more complicated. Okay. Speak.
Hello. Regarding the vigata-jvara in the last
without lethargy. Without lethargy. Lethargy means like you want to postpone. You know what is postpone? Okay, let us see tomorrow. Now it is evening. It is late, too late. Lethargy means you don't want to fight. You don't want to work. So that is called comfort zone. You know what is comfort zone? You have your own nice room, nice light fan, air conditioned. So that is like comfort zone. So that is also one kind of lethargy. Lethargy means you become lazy, lethargic. When you eat too much food, so what happens? You become not energetic, you become lethargic. So, yes. Yes, Prabhu. Take the mic.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Nice lecture you have made us to travel through every scriptures and different commentaries. I have one theoretical question. From what age a human develops karma? Like Krishna expects from this age, okay, because he should have a knowledge that Krishna is there and to dedicate everything to him. A 3 years kid or a 4 years kid, he doesn't know about Krishna. So at what age we start developing karma for bad karmas?
So no, karma is predestined. We just develop our knowledge as per the scripture. When in the womb, when the mother is 7 months pregnant, so the child becomes conscious. The child in the womb, he becomes completely conscious when he's 7 months old. Okay? So in material world, our knowledge matures at the age of 14. When you are 14 years old, but in today's materialistic and material world, unless you are 18 years old, whatever you do, nonsense thing, so that is not, you are not given a big punishment. But we should know that ignorance of law, no excuse. If a child puts a hand, one small finger in the fire will never think he's an adolescent, a small child. No, that can't happen. So in the Bhagavatam, one story is given of a Rishi, Mandukya Muni. There was one Rishi by name Mundaka Muni. So one time what happened? He was sitting in meditation. So some thieves, they entered his hermitage. So some soldiers of the king, they were following from behind, and they entered the hermitage. And they found these thieves hiding there. Say what they thought, maybe this fellow has given shelter. They took this Mandukya Muni to the king, and king, he didn't see the sage. He said, okay, put them on the threshold, on the bar, so pierce them. So what happened? At the 23rd hour, somehow king came to know that this Muni is not involved in this karma. So he let him free. So but this Mandukya Muni, he became angry on Yamraj. So what he thought, this Yamraj has put me in this situation of life. So he went all the way to the abode of Yamraj, and he told Yamraj, I curse you that today you put me in such a situation of life. So throughout my life, I never committed any sin throughout my life. So Yamraj, he asked Chitragupta, just take out his file, let me see. So there Chitragupta, he told, when he was 5 years old, he pierced an ant with a thorn. He pierced an ant with a thorn when he was 5 years old. So Yamraj told, this is what is your past story. But now this Mandukya Muni, he couldn't digest this. Couldn't digest means what you are asking the question. So what you explain, at what age we develop karma, it is not like that. So because karma is in different form, so the present body, our body is our prarabdha karma. Prarabdha means according to my past I got. So but there are karmas in my heart, they are in the form of seed. They are also in the form of about to fructify. Like you put some seeds in the water, they germinate in 12 to 24 hours. And if you put in the earth, this becomes small plant. So that way, karma is not so easy to understand. Gita, Krishna explains, karmana gahano gati. It's very deep matter. It's very difficult to understand. So material world, people more or less, for them it is very difficult to digest. Whatever is happening in their life, they can't digest. What they say, I never knew, I never did this. So this way, karma is very difficult to understand.